Remember the thrilling, awe-inspiring, edge-of-your-seat action that was Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone? No? Anyone? Well, in today's video, we revisit and discuss the monumental failure and waste of precious developer resources, time, planning, marketing, and, well, I was gonna say potential, but honestly, that's probably the one thing that wasn't wasted on Hazard Zone, because there was none to waste. Let's explore how and why DICE's failed attempt at an extraction-style shooter, a genre that is becoming increasingly popular, but has yet to really hit the same mainstream appeal as, say, a Battle Royale, completely missed the mark, and what could have been done to potentially improve this dead-on-arrival game mode. As always, if you find yourself informed or slightly entertained by the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more chill gaming content. For those who need a refresher, Hazard Zone was the highly teased and anticipated third main game mode revealed prior to the launch of Battlefield 2042. This mode was given the same weight and attention in the marketing, the interface, and launch as the primary all-out warfare traditional Battlefield mode and Battlefield Portal, the reimagining of some classic Battlefield experiences. However, Hazard Zone was kept under wraps for quite a while, and while it could be argued that this was to create a sense of hype or mystery to this third main game mode, which actually kind of worked, the more cynical part of me now thinks that they didn't dare show off what they had because they had nothing to show off. And that fundamentally is the core issue that Hazard Zone faced. There just wasn't enough there at all to justify its existence in any way, shape, or form. Rather than feeling like an evolution or an innovation or some novel experience on the standard Battlefield gameplay loop, or even just an evolution of the Battle Royale style squad shooter that we know, we instead got a strange mishmash of ideas slapped together at the last minute in order to present the illusion of more content in this game. Remember, Battlefield 2042 featured and features no single player campaign, and DICE needed to somehow sell what ended up being one of the most bare bones and content light Battlefield games ever made as a massive new next gen all-encompassing and varied experience. So enters Hazard Zone, rumored to be the initial Battle Royale or extraction style direction that 2042 was originally going to take. Hazard Zone seems to be the holding ground for some beta concepts and ideas that were just never fully finished or refined or fleshed out. The game mode now pits up to 16 players, a full lobby, now almost impossible to find due to just how dead the mode is, in one of 2042's massive, barren, Windows XP backgrounds they call maps. Players are tasked to battle brain-dead AI and other squads over the all-important but nebulous data drives. Definitely the most generic and unoriginal name for a lootable objective that I've ever heard of in this type of game. I think it's something to do with weather data contained in satellites that scatter across the map, why these satellites are all falling at once, or why the data can't just be downloaded remotely, or why they battle so fiercely over them is anyone's guess. And I get that it's just set dressing for a different type of game mode, but the stakes feel so insanely low and confusing that even just having us scavenge generic food supplies or undefined weapons would have been so much cooler and more sensible given the backdrop of 2042's setting. While the visual of the satellites falling is kind of cool, right off the bat I was put off by just how uninteresting and uninspired the narrative drive behind Hazard Zone really was, and remains to be. Failing to generate any interest or hype narratively, that really just leaves us to the gameplay loop and progression systems of Hazard Zone, of which there are exactly none. There just isn't progression. The gameplay was of course the standard broken mess that was and still in many ways remains Battlefield 2042's staple experience, with more AI squads just kind of sprinkled in throughout the map, and there was really no fundamental differences in how you played with your squad or engaged with enemies. Speaking of AI, it's just all over the place, ranging from completely brain dead easy to kill and mow down, to suddenly being able to snipe and headshot you from hundreds of yards away. So in that aspect, I guess they really nailed the Tarkov experience. They never felt engaging or interesting to encounter, and mostly just presented simple obstructions for the players. There was never any interesting loot off them or gear, just obstacles. They were just kind of there. Compared to a more fleshed out experience like Hunt Showdown, which uses the environment and AI to present really challenging, engaging, and dynamic obstacles to the players, Hazard Zone's E of the PvPvE experience was laughable at best and depressingly terrible at worst. Speaking of environments, Hazard Zone, as expected, is a much slower paced and quiet experience compared to all-out warfare. Moving from objective to objective and points of interest on the massive sprawling maps of 2042, with just your squad made up of different specialists, you can begin to maybe catch a small glimpse of the original vision this game had in its inception, but it's just a glimpse. The maps of 2042 not only completely fail in every aspect of delivering authentic Battlefield experiences, they fail to create fun playing areas even for Hazard Zone. They just feel so empty and lifeless and barren, and cutting the total number of players to 16 definitely does not help in this bare bones feeling. That bare bones feeling carries from the maps throughout the entirety of Hazard Zone. Honestly, to even critique it this much at this point, so much later after the fact, after it's been abandoned after release, is kind of a joke in and of itself, but I'm honestly still in shock that DICE felt comfortable releasing a game mode like this in this state. It's baffling to me and a prime example of terrible product and project management. Because bare bones is probably the best word to describe Hazard Zone, especially when discussing progression. Arguably the most critical part to nail down for an extraction style shooter is creating a very engaging sense of progression that makes players want to keep returning and extracting and feeling those nail-biting and intense emotions that are supposed to come with the genre. But for Hazard Zone, there just was straight up no progression at all. The only glimmer of progression was the ability to earn points to use to buy gear to take into the next round, and while it was an attempt, it was laughably bad, as playing just a few rounds would give you more points than you could ever reasonably spend if you played this game mode consistently. Revisiting and jumping into it now, even that small veneer of progression is gone. I don't know when exactly, as I haven't played this mode in, well, years at this point, but now you simply choose a loadout and enter the round. No risk, no rewards, no intensity, no satisfaction, no crushing defeats, no nail-biting experiences, nothing. Just empty nothingness. At this point, Hazard Zone has been absolutely completely abandoned, and I've already put more effort into this video than DICE did into the entirety of its development, so I'll leave it with one final thought. Probably the biggest misstep and failure of this mode, and 2042 at large, is that it just frankly does not feel like Battlefield. Which is kind of a nebulous concept, but when you think of Battlefield, do you picture silent, tiny squad-based encounters with maybe a transport vehicle or two thrown in? Absolutely not. This is a franchise known for and built upon its epic, large-scale battles, dynamic environments, and player-driven emergent gameplay. 2042's Hazard Zone, in addition to being completely unfinished, just felt like it was designed by committee. With no clear vision or passion behind it, they just wanted to check the box that they had an extraction-style shooter, which was the new hotness at the time and kinda still is. It's a pale imitation of what Battlefield should be, and it's a shame to see such a beloved franchise reduced to underbaked and underdelivered trend chasing. Unlike Battlefield 5's Firestorm, which genuinely had potential and was extremely fun in my opinion, but just desperately needed support and quality of life improvements and a better release model to take off, there was no such potential with Hazard Zone. It was just completely dead on arrival for a dead game, now abandoned as a hallmark of one of the worst chapters in Battlefield history. Whew, how's that for a cheerful, optimistic video ending? But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Did you play Hazard Zone? Did you get into it? Or any ideas on new content or things I can improve for my videos? I'm always welcome to receive feedback. Thanks for watching. Until next time.